Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel Almost Home Creates. Today I'm going to be making a set of coasters with some 3D blooms, and the first thing you're going to see me doing here is cleaning out my molds. They had a few bits and pieces from the last couple of sets I've done, so I wanted to make sure I had all the glitter out, so I take some packing tape and use it to get all the little bits and pieces out before I am ready to start my pour. First, I'm going to fill my set of coasters about halfway full of resin, and I'm just using a clear resin that I have mixed for about 5 minutes, and then I let sit for about 10 minutes so that the bubbles would come to the top and pop. And I'm going to leave some space because I will back these with another color, so just make sure you get your coasters about halfway full and pop your bubbles with either a heat gun or a lighter. As you see, I'm coming in over each one of my coasters with my heat gun to pop all the small bubbles that are left after the process of letting it sit for a while. And I just want to make sure I'm getting all of them out because this level will be what you're seeing at the top when you flip the coasters over. And the next thing I'm going to do is come in with my gold leaf, and I'm going to start to apply it to the center of each coaster. Generally, it's pretty easy to break up. I just take my stick with a little bit of resin on it and stick it inside my container to get enough to come out for me, and then I just play with it inside the coaster until I get it a little bit broken up in the center and I'm happy with the position that it's in. And you're going to notice on this last one I actually had some difficulties, and it kind of had a mind of its own and went all over the coaster. But the great thing is, if you do this first, you're not messing up any colors when you are moving it back to the center. So I kind of like to do it first when I'm using gold leaf. If I'm using glass bits or something like that, that's a little bit easier. You can put it in towards the end. But with the gold leaf or silver leaf, I like to do it at this point so I can move it around as needed and not be messing up any of my alcohol inks that I've dropped in the color. After I am happy with how I have my gold leaf set up in my coasters, I am ready to start with my alcohol inks. I'm going to first come around the outside of each of my coasters and drop a bunch of little small turquoise drops in with my turquoise alcohol ink. And I'm going to just repeat this process on all 4 of the coasters with my turquoise, making sure that I'm as close to the edge as possible because the inks will spread in towards the center and the color will come out of the edges as it sets and starts to cure. So just make sure you are as close to your edges as you can be with your drips so that you have color closer to the edges if that's what you would like. And after I'm done with my turquoise drops, I am going to come in with violet drops of alcohol ink in the center for the violet color to hopefully actually show through in the center. I've tried this before and not had a lot of luck, so hopefully it goes a little bit better for me this time. After I have all of my inks dropped in, again, it was turquoise and lavender colors that I used. I'm going to let the coaster sit for about 20 to 30 minutes just so that the resin has a chance to make sure that the colors are spreading and that my resin is heated up enough to actually bloom correctly. And as you see, I am using my Alumilite resin mix in, and I'm only using 1 drop in my white because if you use too much it will automatically sink and it will just kind of mess up your bloom. So I just again used 1 drop, and I will link all of the stuff that I'm using that I've purchased on Amazon in my description below, so that if you would like to look at it you can hop on Amazon and see which products exactly I have used. After I have my white nicely stirred up, I'm actually going to take my stick and just do a slight swirl with my colors. I just want a little bit of mixture with them to get a little bit more color in the center. And again, they kind of come towards the center, so I'm not going to actually add any more color in the center, but I did just want to give it a slight swirl before I go in with my white and actually put the Alumilite color in to add the resin bloom. I'm actually going to use my stick this time to start with my bloom, and you noticed I did a little test and it immediately sank to the bottom, so it is not quite ready to go. And this is a good way to test if you do not use a thermometer, is just to put a small amount of your Alumilite white on the top, and if it sinks directly to the bottom, you should probably wait a few more minutes to continue in. So I let it sit for a few minutes and came back, and these test ones are much better, and I like how it's sitting towards the top while still starting to spread. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my petals. And I want to make just almost a petal type shape, like a half type circle, a smaller, not quite as petally looking one, just more of the lines through it. And again, I'm using my stick this time because I saw a couple of people say that sometimes it's easier to direct where you want your white if you use a stick than it is to use a bag. And I'm just not sure because I really like the bag technique, but I decided I was going to try with a stick this time and see what I could get my blooms to do. I'm just going to slowly work my way through each one of my coasters, and on this one I'm just using, like I said, this slight almost, I don't want to call it a semicircle because it's not quite a semicircle, but the dips and valleys basically to where you can see your flower petals almost. I want this to look more rose-like, I guess, than daisy-like, if that makes sense. I'm going to do this on each of my coasters, and at this point, if you want to fast forward to the end or to the next part, you can, but I'm just going to kind of keep it on my regular speed so you can see exactly how long this actually takes and how many lines I put in through each of my coasters. You'll notice on this third coaster, I am doing a more petal shape, and on the coaster before this, I did more of a semicircle shape. I'm trying just a couple little things just to see what I like the best, to know which I want to do in the future. So that's the difference in the different coasters, is some of them have more of the lines, some of them have semicircles, some of them have more of petals, just whatever I ended up with on each different coaster, just to give them a slight variety and for me to be able to see what I preferred. At this point, I am just coming back through at the end, and if there's any places I think could use a little few more petals, I'll put a few more white spots in. I'm also making sure if I have any big globs that happened, that I'm kind of smoothing them out so there are no big white spots in the end. But I just want to make sure I have enough petals to bloom so that the finished products looks good. And I'm going to come with my heat gun right at this point and pop any of the bubbles that I might have caused while I was running my stick through. And then before I'm done, I'm going to come in with my stick and I am going to pull the colors towards the center. And I'm going to do 2 with pulls outward again in the end and 2 with just straight inward pulls, as you will see. I just want, again, a slight variety with the set of coasters. That way they aren't exactly the same each one, and they should have some variety for the set. All right, and now that they have sat overnight, they are ready to get their backing put on. And I'm just going to get a little closer so you can see that the white has bloomed quite nicely. You still see some color, there's still some definition, and it looks like they're just going to be great when I finally get to unmold them. So let's get to backing so I can unmold them tomorrow. And I think I'm going to back them with a navy and black mix, and I'm going to add some of my black onyx glitter just to give them some shine, because I really just love the glitter look overall, and that is what I'm going to go with for this particular set of coasters. All right, so here's what it looks like now that I have it all mixed up with a little bit of shimmer to it, because I've added the glitter, and I am just going to cover the back of all 4 coasters, and I'm going to let them sit overnight and harden, and I will show you the mold tomorrow. All right, I'm really excited about these, and let's see how they turned out. Oh, wow. I love this one. This is the first one, and I really, really just like how the petals are showing. I like the colors showing through. I like the middles. You can see a little bit of the purple. I wish you could see a little bit more, but I still just love overall how the colors have spread. I like the background with a little bit of bluish black background, and I really like the ones that I've done here with the out where I pulled the petals outward too. Overall, I absolutely love this set. I hope you guys liked it too, and thanks for watching. And if you liked, please just subscribe and follow for more. Thanks again.